What's up, folks? It's a very good time to be a country music fan, especially with the girl sitting right next to me. She just put out a brand new album called Dive Bar Beauty Queen on May 30th, and it's the perfect time to put an album out. Ashland Craft joins me. Ashland, what's going on?
Not much, just living the good life. How about you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk record stuff.
Yes, well, speaking of that, you just put out an 11-song record on May 30th, and it's your first album in a few years. How does it feel having it out there?
So relieving. We've worked so daggum hard on this record. So I think from the moment we started, we were just ready to get it out there. And I know I was. I've been so antsy after not releasing a record for 4 years. So I was just really hoping that it would give everybody something to dance to, have a good summer to.
Well, the title track kicks off the album in a fun way. It's kind of like this groovy, funky, upbeat tune. Can you talk about the decision to name the album Dive Bar Beauty Queen and also choosing the title track to kick off the album?
For sure. Um, I initially did not know that I was going to be releasing "Die Bar Beauty Queen" in itself. That's one of the only songs I've written by myself. I wrote it many years ago, around like 18, 19 years old. And it had just kind of came across when we were, picking songs, myself and my team, when we were all like looking at songs to kind of eventually make a record out of. And they came across that song. They became such a champion of it, and I fought it for a long time. I was like, you can tell I'm so young when I wrote this. Like, I just fought it. I was afraid that, after spending 6 years in Nashville, that hopefully it would stand up to the rest of the songs. Long story short, ended up being the first song on the record, which I thought was only suitable since Traveling Kind was named that, and then also the title track was the first record. I always wanted that to be kind of the show opener, so to speak. And yeah, that song, I just wanted it to be super honky tonk, very reminiscent of the music that I listened to growing up. Nothing too crazy production wise. We just wanted it to be really simple. Vocally, wanted it to be fairly raw. So yeah, that was just, we wanted to set the mood for the record with that song and showcase, like, hey, this is our goal, is to try to keep this type of music alive throughout this entire thing.
Well, it's a fun song. It's a fun record. Now, the whole
Thank you.
process with 11 songs there, what was it like recording the album and the whole process that went into it?
A long journey. This is my first time being able to actually really have a say so in production. And I worked with two amazing writers, producers, I cannot talk, Lee Starr and Jess Gromit. And I became friends with them a couple of years ago, and I've just loved their work ever since. And I knew they knew me as a person, which was super important. And so I reached out to them to help me produce this record. And I mean, we just went in every session. We recorded for 2 to 4 songs each session. So it was kind of broken up in little parts, but we had an all-star band with us, and we really got to dive in and, not think what's just commercial, but what do we want to say? What do we want to showcase? And I think it turned out as a perfect example of that.
I agree. And you put it out at the perfect time, like I was saying in the beginning. Putting an album out at the end of May, it's like the kickoff of festival season.
Yes.
About a week before CMA Fest. How was your festival, and what did it feel like putting an album out just for like the album of the summer kind of?
Yeah. I mean, it was just very really, you just hoped for it to bring good vibes. And I think so far, thankfully, all of the festivals we played, all the shows that we've played, I think it's really, all the music has really lifted the mood and lifted the spirit. So that's all I could ever hope for. I know we've had a lot of like repeat fans come back and they already know all the new music, which is really cool. So yeah, it's just like a really big dream. And it's exactly the response that I was hoping for, especially going into summer. I'm so used to being an opener or just like, earlier on in the day for a lot of these festivals and shows. So I always want to like start with a bang, end with a bang.
I love that. Speaking of that with festivals, is there any artists that you've gotten the chance to like stay later for and be like, I want to see this artist and somebody maybe you've never seen before or something like that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I mean, just in general, I've gotten to see the most. concerts I ever have in my life in the past couple of years. We grew up super blue collar, so concert money was not always top of mind. So, um, I mean, there's been a lot of amazing artists, but I think the one that I was most excited about seeing, and this wasn't even a festival, this was one of our tours, but Luke Bryan just lit that like fire in me all over again. I saw him when I was super, super young, but just watching him perform for his fans, for especially for how long he's been doing this. It was so inspiring to watch him, see his energy on stage, and just see the fans respond to him. So I think that recently was like a big second wind for me, so to speak.
Yeah, he puts on a fun show.
So good.
Now, for you with the summer ahead, what lies ahead for you now with this record out and a whole 3 months, I guess, of warm weather? Thankfully, it's 100 degrees
Lots.
today, so I'm happy.
Yes, lots of sweat. That's for sure. That is a guarantee. But that's one of the reasons I love festival season. Like you're just meant to get out there and have a good time. We've got like Born and Raised Festival coming up soon, which is something that I have never done. And speaking of artists you want to see but haven't seen yet, I know Old 60 is going to be playing that day, Treaty Oak Revival. So really looking forward to that day and seeing some new artists that I really liked. But then also, I'm doing my first ever headlining tour, which is so exciting, so nerve wracking. I've been an opener for the most part for the past 6 years, so I'm super excited to dive into like my putting on my own show and people getting a full taste of what an Ashland Craft show is.
Well, I guarantee it's a lot of fun, but there's a this next question is kind of on the spot. I don't
Okay.
have a pre-show routine, but I know there's a lot of artists out there that have like a, like a hype song or something before you go on stage. Do you have one of those?
Ooh, I have a hype playlist. I made a very, very long playlist. It's called Pre-Show Jams. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Music if anybody wants to listen. And it's literally like if you find that playlist and press play, press shuffle, that is exactly what I'm listening to every before every single show. It's either that or we're screwing around on instruments and jamming. So one of
Well,
the two.
that's awesome. But once you hit the stage, and now with the record out, do you have, I guess I'll put this in two questions. The first part of the question is, do you have a favorite song on the record to play live?
Ooh. That's such a hard question. I think with producing this record, live music was kind of the first thought in mind. So for that reason, it made it a little bit harder for me to pick a favorite because they're all, for the most part, really grooving. If I had to pick, it's gonna be a toss up. So I'm sorry, I'm not a good picker. Hanging at the honky tonk is just so much fun. I can't not dance on stage every time and just move. Um, and then doesn't have to be that way is my other really just favorite to perform, I guess. That song is so sassy and soulful, and I think between those two, those really get me going. So,
Well, the second part of the question, this might be even harder to answer then.
okay.
Well, you picked two of your favorite songs performed live from the record. What do you have a favorite song that you cut on the record, just in general?
Huh. I'd either have to say, does it have to be that way? I just love that I get to sing in that song. It's not like talk, speaking. It's just a full out, you come in swinging.
Oh yeah.
So that one, or wasn't the Chevy? I think those are my two soul tie songs.
Well, I think it's a great record, and I always ask this question when somebody puts a new album out. So this one's a fun on the spot question. If you had
Okay.
to get fans to listen to the album to get I guess get their excitement up and go stream it, how would you pitch it in one sentence?
This record is the complete tip of the hat to the honky tonk music we all knew and loved growing up.
That's a perfect way to sum it up.
Cool, cool.
That don't make you want to listen to some good old country music. I don't know what does. Dive Bar
Yes.
Beauty Queen is out right now. 11 great songs. If you don't follow Ashland on Instagram and TikTok and all the other social media platforms you can find her on, go do it right now. Ashland, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. And don't forget to look up that playlist. I'm telling you, it is very hype. You will thank me later. It's a great pregame, pre-show playlist.
I will look it up and I encourage
Okay,
else to do it too.
perfect. Well,
Well,
thank y'all so much for diving in on this stuff with me.
absolutely. Congrats on the album release and see you guys next time.